Well, the guys that are doing the facing, when they get up in the morning, they can go face the pile, and that's just one small part of their job, because their job is to get the feed mixed at the right ration, the right amounts, get it delivered to the bunks at the right times and the right schedule. So facing it's an important part, but it's also just a smaller part of managing a dairy. So if there's one thing that they don't have to worry about, making sure that facer is going to run. They don't have to worry about that with the Easy Rake. They just go hook up and face the pile. It's just something they just can do like clockwork every day, every day, every day. And that's how that's how you need to run a dairy. You need to do it like clockwork. The cows need to have consistency. So if the guys can have consistency and that brings consistency to the cows, and it's overall profitable for the dairy. Also the time. With a mechanical facer, we've used to spend well over an hour to an hour and a half. With this machine, it's 20 to 30, in some cases 40 minutes to do the same job.
Quality of feed, so I don't really know how to measure that, but the only way I know how to measure it is safety and wear and tear on equipment. It'll pay for itself right there.
Anytime you go in and lift, it like sucks air in.
Yeah.
So I always say we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on chopping equipment. You're out here getting the right length of cut, the right processor setting, everything just perfect, right? Yeah. And then a week before you're going to use the feed, suck it up with air and let it start decomposing. Because you're going sideways.
Well, he never went sideways. He goes to the front. Yeah. And we always try to get him to go sideways, but he doesn't really do that because he messes with the bucket. So you go front ways and you just grab a huge chunk and that front ram just snap under pressure.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so that in itself saves them.
What do you like about it? The nice clean face, the ease of use, no hydraulics to hook up. Takes a couple seconds to switch between bucket and the rake, and real big time saver.
What don't you like about it?
I haven't found anything I don't like about it so far.
A recent Diamond V TMR audit revealed that the Easy Rake left the silage face clean and tight, so heating was not a concern. Infrared imaging was used to observe surface temperature variations, and very little difference was found.
We do have proof of, and especially in haylage, of the mechanical facers reducing the particle length of the feed. And we always talk about, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with chopping equipment and trucks and packers, and it's just focused in on that pile because that's your whole profit. Your whole year is sitting there in that feed pile, and we spend all this money to get the feed at exactly the right length. We're always adjusting the length of cut or whatever on the chopper, and we're out there and checking the processor and making sure everything's right. And then right before you're going to use it, they hook up and run a mechanical facer and start grinding it down even farther after you think you've got it to the perfect length. Safety is a big concern on farms, and with big farms and big piles like we have here behind us, because the silage will tend to cave in. And I've heard many stories of farmers that have had the pile cave in on the loader, break the windshields out, possibly even injuries. We've heard of injuries and even potentially death at times. So with using the Easy Rake, it gets you farther away from the pile. And if you notice, the pile's got a little bit of a slope back to it, so it's not as likely that the feed is going to cave in using the Easy Rake to manage the face. down in Indiana, there was a farm that purchased one from us, and before they bought it, our dealer took a demo out there and tried it, and in 15 minutes they had enough feed down for the whole day, and it used to take them an hour and a half. So facing it's an important part, but it's also just a smaller part of managing a dairy. So if there's one thing that they don't have to worry about, it's making sure that facer's going to run. They don't have to worry about that with the Easy Rake. They just go hook up and face the pile. It's just something they just can do like clockwork every day, every day, every day. That's how you need to run a dairy. With a mechanical facer, we've used to spend well over an hour to an hour and a half. With this machine, it's 20 to 30, in some cases 40 minutes to do the same job. It cuts facing time in half easily. Safety is a big concern on farms because the silage will tend to cave in. When I was a kid, we had big silage piles, and I remember on several occasions, the pile would just, boom, a big chunk would fall down, and it just rocked the earth. It would just make the loudest noise. I've heard stories of farmers that have had the pile cave in on the loader, break the windshields out, possibly even injuries. We've heard of injuries, and even potentially a death at times. So with using the Easy Rake, it gets you farther away from the pile, and if you notice, the pile's got a little bit of a slope back to it. The action of it causes the pile to face at a slight angle like that. So it's not as likely that the feed is going to cave in. But the maintenance costs, that's huge. I was in Idaho about a month ago, and the one farm I was on, the guy said that $9,800 I can pay for this thing easily in a year. It'll pay for itself. Well, with the mechanical facers that I personally used to work on, that we used to have here, it was always the tighteners, chains, bearings, sprockets, orbital motors, and then occasionally a hose or two would break. And the other thing with mechanical facing is you're running your hydraulic pump on your, whether it's a payloader, telehandler, or the skid steer. You know, you're running your pump and it's hot, it's just working it really hard, it's burning fuel. And those fittings, those hydraulic fittings, to uncouple them after you were done, they'd be so hot you couldn't touch them, so you'd have to wait a little bit. So not only would the facer give you maintenance problems, but your loader or your telehandler in some cases would, in most cases with the motor, it would wear that out quicker, so that it would require a replacement or a repair.